Greetings, y'all, and thanks for tuning back in here to another episode here on Speedbug channel. All right, today we're going to talk all about my X Diavel S. And I'm going to kind of explain to you not so much a 5 things I hate or 5 things I love style type of video, but why I think this bike is the ultimate cruiser, if you want to call it that. And we're going to define the word cruiser as it is normally by you have to have forward-facing controls. However, this bike really wasn't designed as a cruiser. It had mid-controls from the regular Diavel, but by this being an all-new platform, it's kind of a cruiser. Anyway, but it's a cruiser, it's in the cruiser family, and I'm going to tell you why I think, in my opinion, this is the best ultimate cruiser that you can buy right now for the money. To start off, a lot of people buy cruisers because, first off, they just want to be comfortable. They just want to be, not crouched over. They don't necessarily always have to be in a rush or a race, like if they're always on a crotch rocket. And this bike in a cruiser, or anything like a V-Rod or an M109 or a Harley or anything like that, will allow them to be comfortable in a nice seat, have their legs, forward out, maybe even some mid controls. Handlebars are spaced out, you're not crouched out, cramped like how you are on a crotch rocket, or even kind of semi-cramped sitting on something like a sport touring bike, like the Groms and the Supermoto. However, this bike to me crosses off almost everything that you can do as far as a cruiser that you would want the ultimate cruiser to be. Because I think the biggest thing that cruisers lack is the power and speed, because everybody kind of likes the power and the speed of a crotch rocket, absolutely. However, nobody wants to be crouched over and hunched over, on something like this, riding for 2 or 3 hours. You could ride this for 2 or 3 hours, no problem, and not get tired. You stand up, you get some gas, you stretch out, get some food, go to the restroom, and you hop right back on. 2-3 hours on this one, or on any of them, ain't gonna happen. You ain't trying to be comfortable in any of that. It ain't designed to be comfortable. This is designed with comfortability no matter what. The suspension's set up for comfortability. You can do a little track stuff with it, but it's designed to cruise down the road and let the wind through your hair, hit your face, all that, and enjoy the scenery with or without a passenger. So by this thing having so much horsepower, and yes, there are bikes that have more horsepower than the X Diavel S, such as the Yamaha, I think, is it the VMAX, I believe it's called? I think that puts down like 20 or 30 more horse. And that's a big jump when you're on a bike. However, the biggest thing that this bike offers, is its weight. This bike only weighs like 540 or 550 pounds, which is ridiculously light for a cruiser, where normal cruisers like a Sportster or anything like that tend to somewhere hang out in the neighborhood of the 600 to 700 pounds. And then as you get to your full dressers, you can get to 800, 900, and even 1,200 pounds, like all the way up to like the real cruisers, like the ultimate cruiser, which is a car, like a Goldwing. Those are like 1,200 pounds. So given the fact that this bike here, I believe this one cranks out 150 or 160 horse, and it's only like 125, 130 pounds heavier than a traditional style, 400-pound crotch rocket. It just spells a recipe just for a fun time. And it doesn't have a 15,000 RPM red line. It's not supposed to. I think it's got like a 10,000 RPM red line. But it's also geared with torque. And that's why it has such a large sprocket on the rear, as opposed to much smaller sprockets that sport bikes have, for the top end and for that long acceleration, but they also have that long RPM band. So it also gives the illusion and the feel that you're actually really hauling ass. And don't get me wrong, this thing is not slow, as you've seen in the videos that were previously here in this video. This thing, what cruisers do you really know do 150 miles an hour? The V-Rod did and the VMAX did. Those were like always the 2 fastest cruisers on the market. And if I'm missing a major one, I completely forget, sorry to mention it, but I'm not trying to offend anybody. However, the X Diavel S came into this segment, and another thing that it wins over, I think, out of all of them, because the V-Rod is gone. Now it's the Harley Breakout, which is a sick bike too. But the design of the X Diavel S is on point. I think it's probably the best looking sports cruiser that you can get on the market right now. My opinion. This is not a fact. Some people may think, oh, this shit is ugly. They don't want to see all this. They just want to see the motor and some fins and stuff like that. They don't care for the milled belt covers or anything like that. They may not care for it. You might not care for it. Some people I've met don't really care for this bike. But they ride it. They say it rides real nice. But they just don't care for the way the Ducati rides. However, with a lot of the other features that this bike has, that, again, that you're looking for in a cruiser to be comfortable and relaxed, when you want to get up out of the way, this thing's got plenty of power to do it. And rather than having 80 or 90 horsepower that your traditional style cruiser would have, this thing has damn near double that. It's got a beautiful gauge display. Let's turn it on so we can see it. You can completely customize it. It's got fuel gauge, fuel lights, engine temperature, miles per gallon. All the instrument panels here, they all light up for you for easy find. Cruise control, auto leveling turn signals. The mirrors don't crazy shake as some of the other bikes that I've talked about here on the channel, which is crazy because these are fixed too. And the handlebars, I think, are reasonably placed. You know, some people don't necessarily care for the half a ape hanger style, but it could perform more of that Street Fighter style where they come down and out a little bit more. That's user preference, and you could change handlebars. That's pretty straightforward. That's pretty easy. But another cool, crazy thing that this bike has that you saw, I did a video on it, is that it has launch control. And not many cruisers that you're ever going to come across or see or anything, it has launch control. And this thing will do a 10-second quarter mile, a high 10-second quarter mile, and that's really fast for a cruiser. You know, some of your cruisers, it's wigging out. You know, some of your cruisers, you know, they would normally break, you know, the fast ones would break into the 12s, you know, maybe into the 11s when they were pretty quick. But again, they weren't designed for speed. They were designed for comfort and to haul shit around and to take your lady or take your guy out, you know, whatever, and just have a, you know, and have a good time cruising down the expressway, cruising down the side streets, just eating up miles. And this bike, I think, does it exceptionally well, but also gives you a little bit of some of those packed within here, and I think the design point is on point. You know, I think it's very unique. Now, I chose I think it's called Iceberg White. This bike also comes here in black. Some people prefer the black. I preferred the white on this one, but I did contemplate a lot here on the black. But I chose the white, and I think I made a good choice, you know. So feature-wise and everything like that, I mean, you know, it's got Bluetooth. You know, you can sync it with your phone. You know, you can, you know, read your text messages on the display, get a call log. You know, all these, you know, creature comfort features that a lot of your cars have that this bike does have. And I think that for the money, this bike, and being that it's a Ducati, it's very well reasonably priced considering the other bikes in the segments and breakouts and stuff that are $25,000 and $21,000. You know, not the one with the little motor, the big motor. You know, and excluding the Yamaha, the VMAX, because that's significantly less, and it's one of the big four, and they will always be less, and for a damn good reason too. Not talking shit about it, but they do their homework. But if I have to say something negative about this bike, you know, about all of the, you know, passing all the compliments that I just gave, the worst thing about it is probably its price, because even though it's in the same price point, however, it is more expensive than all of the other bikes. And you option this thing out, tax title out the door, you know, you're $31,000 all day. If you buy it new, if you can't find any used ones or any on discount or demo or anything like that. So you definitely are going to pay a premium for it, and that's before obviously you start modding it. I haven't even touched my exhaust or anything yet, but that's going to be coming up soon. But it is an expensive bike, and that's just kind of what we got to do. And I think that's just something you got to do, because we all know you got to pay to play. And the bike that I was actually, again, I think I told you guys in another video, the bike I was looking at before this was the V-Rod and was an M109. And an M109, you can get that brand new for 14 grand. And some of them, you can even find them on discount for like 12 and 11 out the door. Again, the bike rides, I think the bike actually rides a little bit smoother than this bike, because this bike's designed for a little bit more sportsman-like, you know, riding versus the M109. But the M109, I could ride that thing all up and down the entire state here of Florida. This one I could do it too, but I'd be more comfortable on the M109. So again, you know, we got to kind of just, you know, build a compromise. But I think as the ultimate cruiser and the bike that's the ultimate speed, take a look at your Ducati X Diavel and make sure you check it out. And I hope this video has been informative to you all. Again, I hope you all like what you saw. Thanks for tuning in here to another episode here on the Speedbug channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can check me out here on Instagram, the Speedbug, same name here as YouTube. And we'll see you here for another episode here on the Speedbug channel. Deuces.